ask you the age-old question everybody wants to know, but people are too polite to ask. How much do you get paid? For years, asking someone how much they got paid was considered pocket watching. You were told to mind your business.
Mind your business, that's all, just mind your business.
Keep your salary private and not let people know what comes in your household. But now, people are posting their actual paychecks online, and what they're revealing is bigger than curiosity.
Not to be in y'all's business or anything, but how much money do y'all make an hour?
If you kids can't live comfortably on $20 an hour, you have to be overspending.
I think more people, especially Americans, need to start disclosing how much they are struggling financially.
It's showing that a lot of hardworking people are not failing because they're refusing to work. They're working and still can't afford a stable life. The real question isn't why are people so bad with money? The real question is, when did working so hard stop being enough? Let's get into it. Cue the clip.
This that Raymundo reacts, huh? Y'all came in for the laughs, huh? You did. Stay for the commentary cause it makes sense, huh? Real talk.
That boy is good.
I got a serious question. How the is it that I work out in sites like this? Blue collar work, right? We building shit like this. Valve cans, pipe, backflows, you know, concrete, all this shit. Blue collar work, you know what I'm saying? How the is it that I work in this? And I'm a heavy equipment operator, so that is what I operate, you know. That is another one. But yet, I'm still struggling to live in America. I'm building shit like this. You know, right now I'm in Kissimmee, Florida, but I'm building shit like this. Shit like this, dealing with shit like this. Digging down on meters and raising the boxes to curb level and everything. How is it that I'm doing heavy labor jobs, you know, because that's what they say. This is what the old generation says. You got to work hard, you got to get you a good job. This is what they say. Work hard, get you a good job, or pick up a good trade. How is it that I work in something like this and got 6 years of experience in this, make a significant good amount of money when it comes to gross pay, but yet I'm still struggling? And I'm living below my means. I don't have Netflix, I don't have any of that shit, right? Just enough to pay the rent, just enough to pay my insurance on my car, barely can get food. Food stamp says I make way too much. You know what I'm saying? How is it that I live in America working heavy labor, blue collar jobs like this, 6 years of experience, and yet I can't live in America?
Now this is the part that hits home because he did exactly what people told him to do. He learned a trade, gained 6 years of experience, works heavy equipment, and performs hard physical labor. He even said he lives well below his means. Yet, he's still struggling to cover rent, food, insurance, and transportation. We tell men that their job is to work, provide, and handle their responsibilities. But then we treat them like failures when their paychecks no longer cover the basics. A man can help build the city and still feel like he can't build a stable life for himself.
How much you guys think I make at McDonald's? 2 weeks, I'm a manager. Don't let my shirt fool you. We don't make shit. Me and my husband were both managers at McDonald's. And for 2 weeks, I only bring home, where's it at? $1,100. That's 2 weeks. So as manager, in a full month of working, I bring in what, 2,400? People are always like, why are you guys so broke? Just our rent alone is $1,500. Our car payment is $500. My car insurance, because I was an irresponsible addict for so long, that's like $400 a month. We live in Phoenix, Arizona. My electric bill is like $200 a month. If you guys just add up like our regular bills, we only have like a $300-400 median after that, and we still have to grocery shop, gas, have money to live. We don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. My husband makes a little bit more money than I do, a tiny bit, not much.
Now I know some people are gonna hear McDonald's and automatically say, go get a better job. But these aren't teenagers working a few hours after school. Both people in that household are managers. They're working, contributing, and still calculating whether they have enough left for groceries and gas after the bills are paid. Rent, car payments, insurance, and electricity. Don't care whether society respects your job title. Two working adults shouldn't be one emergency away from everything falling apart.
If you kids can't live comfortably on $20 an hour, you have to be overspending. We got to break this down very quickly to give people perspective into the Gen Z's lives. If you make $20 an hour, that is $40,000 a year. After taxes, that is $2,750. The average one-bedroom apartment and utility is going to run you $2,000. You cannot do that making $20 an hour, so you're going to have to rent with a roommate for about $1,200, and that's being conservative. $500 a month for groceries, which is less than $150 a week. $300 for a student loan payment, which is below average. $300 for a car payment, which is below average. $150 for car insurance, $150 for gas, $100 for personal care, $50 for a cell phone is $2,750. That is paycheck to paycheck, leaving you with nothing. Nothing for savings, investments, the big one, health insurance, because I'm assuming they're under 26 years old, and zero fun. Now, if they were to make $30 an hour, that's $60,000 a year. That's $3,900 after taxes. Maybe they decide to get their own place for $2,000 and everything else stays the same. They're left with $350 a month, which is essentially still paycheck to paycheck. This is the cost of living in America.
This is why the phrase just budget everything doesn't always make sense. At $20 an hour, rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, insurance, a phone bill, and student loans can wipe out nearly the entire monthly check. And that calculation barely includes savings, emergencies, healthcare, entertainment, or investing for the future. And we're not talking about somebody buying designer every weekend or taking luxury vacations. We're talking about an ordinary worker paying ordinary bills and still having no room to breathe. And once the math looks like this, the conversation becomes political whether people want it to or not, because workers can improve their skills, control their spending, and make better choices, but wages are also affected by laws and public policy. Bernie Sanders asked whether the federal minimum wage should finally be raised from $7.25 an hour, while Scott Bessent argued that minimum wage should be handled more at the state and regional level.
So you don't think we should change the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour?
No, sir.
Okay. Right now in America, we have over 22 million workers who are making less than $15 an hour, and nearly 40 million people in our country earning less than $17 an hour. Shamefully, the federal minimum wage, despite the efforts of myself and other people here, have not been raised since 2009 and remains an unbelievable $7.25 an hour. Will you work with those of us who want to raise the federal minimum wage to a living wage to take millions of Americans out of poverty?
Senator, I believe that the minimum wage is more of a statewide and regional issue.
I understand the cost of living is different depending on where you live. $15 may stretch further in Mississippi than it does in New York, Seattle, or Los Angeles. But saying it's only a state or a local issue doesn't explain why the federal floor has stayed at $7.25, while rent, food, insurance, transportation, and healthcare keeps going up. The federal minimum wage is supposed to be a floor, not a comfortable salary, and definitely not a ceiling. States can raise it higher based on cost, but the national floor shouldn't leave a full-time worker trapped in poverty.
This is what I'm struggling with in America right now in my 20s. Why is everything so expensive? Why am I making more money waitressing than I would make using my college degree? I barely have a life. I have 2 days off and I work Wednesday to Sunday, doubling just to pay my bills. At 22 years old, all of my bills are in my name. I have no help. How are y'all affording housing? In Myrtle Beach, a one-bedroom apartment is $1,500. How are y'all getting insurance, going to the doctor, getting medicine? And then some of us are trying to be TikTok influencers. Who knows where that's going to get me? Me and my boyfriend are saving, but we barely see each other during the week, and it feels like we're working our off for nothing. Do we need to move somewhere for a better job opportunity that we don't know about? Do any of y'all really know what you want to do with your life right now? It is so scary being in America right now.
She went to college, earned the degree, and now says she makes more money waitressing than she would using a degree. She works Wednesday through Sunday, barely sees her boyfriend, and feels like they're working without actually building a life together. That's the part people miss when they reduce everything to hourly wages and spreadsheets. Financial pressure takes away your time, strains your relationships, and makes you question whether all that sacrifice is leading anywhere. What's the point of working constantly if you never get to enjoy the life you're trying to create?
How is everyone affording life? Real question. How are you guys doing it? Because my daycare costs the same as our mortgage, which is just wild to me. And I had a crash out earlier today just about how like really expensive everything really truly is. And I just don't know how you guys are doing it. So I have a corporate 6-figure job. I should be able to afford life. We're not doing anything wrong. Just life is expensive. And I'm the breadwinner in my household. There's this like constant stress, like hanging over my head all the time of you got to make more to provide for your family, especially in this day and age. And it's wild because at the same time, I'm stuck in these corporate handcuffs and I am going through burnout. I don't want to continue doing this. I have like the mental load, hanging over my head. I'm trying to be a good mom, let alone like a good wife, daughter, sister, friend, which I'm failing at all of those things, I feel like.
Now this matters because she says she has a 6-figure corporate job, yet she's still overwhelmed. Daycare costs as much as the mortgage. She's the primary breadwinner, and the pressure of carrying the household never leaves her. So this isn't only a minimum wage problem anymore. Financial stress is moving up the income ladder, and salaries that once sounded wealthy no longer guarantee security in every household. Imagine finally reaching the number you thought would make life easier, only to realize the stress followed you there.
You know what? They keep saying that we're in the age of disclosure, and I think that they're right. But I think we also need to start disclosing something else, like on a personal level. Like, I think more people, especially Americans, need to start disclosing how much they are struggling financially. Like, I made a video yesterday talking about how this is my first job that I've been able to land since November of last year. I'm not full-time. That job is not full-time. It is $19 an hour. It is 32 hours a week. My lease renewal, I've got my third notification about my lease renewal. I cannot afford to renew this lease, and I also can't afford to move, because if you move, what do you got to do? Deposit, admin fee, application fee, paying for the moving truck, taking time off of work, all this extra stuff that you have to pay for. I cannot afford to do either one. And a lot of people are in this position right now. A lot of people cannot find a job. And it's not because there's just a natural scarcity when it comes to job. It is a manufactured scarcity. They're not hiring anyone. They're cutting 90% of their workforce and getting the remaining 10% to do the work of the other 90%. While not increasing their pay. The cost of everything is going up, but everybody keeps reporting record profits. Nobody can afford to pay their workers a livable wage, but everybody has record profits. But you know who does get paid? The shareholders, who do absolutely nothing for the company. This is the state of the economy right now. Like, this is a reality. This is real. And this is where we all are. It's a lot more people that are just too embarrassed to say. You should never be embarrassed about what this system has done to you. Because I'm not.
Now, this may be the most important part of the entire conversation. People are embarrassed to admit that they're struggling because society immediately assumes financial problems come from laziness, bad decisions, or poor discipline. Personal responsibility still matters, and nobody should pretend every choice is outside of our control. But when millions of people are working and describing the same pressure, it can't all be dismissed as individual failure. Now, these paycheck videos aren't shocking because nobody knew wages were low. They're shocking because they reveal how many people we assume we're doing fine are actually living check to check. Managers, tradesmen, college graduates, parents, and 6-figure earners are all asking the same question. Why does working this hard still feel like falling behind? And maybe talking about money isn't always pocket watching. Maybe salary transparency is finally showing people that they're not struggling alone. So let me know what you think. Should the federal minimum wage be raised nationally, or should every state decide what workers need to survive? And after seeing these real paychecks, do you believe struggling workers simply need to budget better? Drop it in the comments. Until next time, if you enjoy the content, hit that sub button to the right and to the left, more dope content. Don't forget to hype this thing up and share it a time or two. Until next time, I'm out.
This that Raymundo reacts, huh? Y'all came in for the laughs, huh? You did. Stay for the commentary, cause it makes sense, huh? Real talk.
That boy is good.